I now call Ash Regan to be followed by Michelle Thompson. Ms Regan.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. And I'd like to start by commending Ruth Maguire for bringing this important debate to the Chamber, and just to say that I agree entirely and wholeheartedly with the contents of her speech. I would like to also commend Model for Scotland on the work that they've been doing on this very important topic over the last wee while. I read the report with interest, I think it was a month or so ago now. I thought it was very good, it was very helpful in setting out some of the information in the international context on this subject. But I'd also like to commend the CPG as well on CSE for all the work that they have also been doing on this topic. So the report is about international insights, and the international context is, of course, very important on this. It's also instructive, I think, for a country that is looking to possibly change the law on this themselves. So we have the Palermo Protocol, that's from the UN, and that is to prevent, suppress and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children. And it says that states shall adapt or strengthen legislative or other measures to discourage demand. Then we have Article 6 of CEDAW, and that says that states shall take all measures, including legislation, to suppress exploitation and prostitution. And we also have the Council of Europe Convention on Action Against Trafficking, again, to discourage demand. That reducing demand is the key part of this approach. Prostitution and trafficking are linked. Prostitution creates the market that traffickers then strive to fill. So reducing demand by creating a legal framework that diminishes it as much as possible is imperative. So Sweden obviously showed the way for us on this. They were the first to criminalise the purchase of sex to achieve that suppression in demand. And in the 20 or so years since Sweden did this, many other countries have now followed suit. And I think it's up to around 8 countries now. That gives us more data to look at. It gives us more experience to watch as well, to see how a country like Scotland might be able to follow this. Sweden is mentioned in the report. I visited Sweden myself when I was looking into this issue a few years ago, and I remember the prosecutors there explaining to me that although they were very proud of their law, and rightly so, that they felt on reflection that the fact that there was no way to escalate in terms of, I think it was just fines. You know, you could be caught a number of times and each time you would get the same fine. So I note from the report that it's now saying that Sweden has updated that now, and the minimum penalty now is imprisonment. So I note that with interest. The Scottish Government obviously have their position on this, which is they have their strategy, which is called Equally Safe. And in that, it does note that prostitution is violence against women, which is obviously the position I think many of us in the Chamber would take today. The problem with that is that Equally Safe has been the position of the Scottish Government for over 10 years now, and unfortunately the law has not been updated to reflect that. And I will take some personal responsibility, because I know that many of the people here will know that I was the Minister in charge in that area for a number of years. And I will say it was a personal disappointment to me that I left office having not been able to change the law when I was the Minister in government. Unfortunately, I learnt that the political will of just one person in a large government is not enough, and it was not enough in that case. But 10 years is too long. It's not good enough that this has not been given a priority. And I recognise the Scottish Government has instead been focusing on other issues, some of which I would consider to actually be detrimental to women, such as the discredited GRR bill. And now, seemingly, they've learned nothing from the process of that over the last year, and they're thinking of bringing forward a conversion therapy bill. And even the proposed misogyny bill that the Government are considering should be brought forward after legislation is undertaken to update the position on prostitution law, because prostitution is misogyny in action. So members may or may not be aware, but I'm planning on bringing forward a members' bill on this topic this year. I am just finalising my consultation, which will be out hopefully in the next few weeks. I'd be very happy to discuss that with anyone, and I look forward, hopefully, to receiving cross-party support. Thank you very much.